This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, leading the league in podcasting entertainment.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. This is the Fast Break Podcast. I am Sean Anderson. Alongside me is Ricky Widmer.
Hey, guys.
And Dave Oster.
He got to go first this time?
Yeah.
I do.
I mean, he usually
that's
goes
how
first.
it usually goes, Dave.
I don't know if you'll see me next week.
Is that what we're gonna...
Not feeling the love.
We establish
All right.
Ricky, and then we see if Dave showed up for the week.
Dave did show up,
Yeah,
right?
he's
So,
here.
I mean, the cow streak has started at 2 now. We'll see how
We're back up and running, baby.
The longest was 5?
I can't remember.
I think it was 5 or 6.
I feel like 5 or 6, yeah.
We'll see if we can get there. Obviously, I don't know if you're going to get to the 2,000 that Kale hit, but we'll get there. Today, we're going to be talking Luke Walton. We're going to be talking about the Golden State Warriors and if the Trailblazers can upset the Golden State Warriors with Steph Curry out. And we'll also talk to DeMarcus Cousins. And we're going to jump into that Golden State topic first because Ricky's giving me the look of disgust for mentioning Luke Walton first.
No, I have nothing against Lukey.
Oh, sure you don't. You don't believe in Luke Walton.
No, I believe in him. I believe.
Talking about Luke Walton's former team here, the Golden State Warriors, going to take on the Portland Trailblazers. The first game is starting on May 1st. We are recording this on April 30th. So if we say anything wrong, then that's we're just going to precurse that because we started talking about the Heat, being the Eastern Conference Finals team, and now
we crowned their ass.
Yeah, now we crowned their ass, and now they're going to a Game 7. Anyways, we're going to jump in. Steph Curry supposedly going to be out for 2 weeks. Then that was about a couple days ago. His returned estimated time will be May 9th, and if you look at the playoff schedule, that would put him out until Game 4. So there'll be 3 games without Steph Curry. Can Portland take 3 games without Steph Curry being in the lineup for the Warriors? Do you think the front court of Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum, do you guys think that the Portland Trailblazers can take 3 games without Steph Curry being in the lineup for the Warriors?
Not all 3. They're not going to take all 3. Let's be honest. The Warriors are with Steph Curry healthy, they're the best team in the NBA. But
Steph isn't playing. That's the whole point.
I know, but I look at these first 3 games, and I think we could have, at the very least, a 2-1 series coming into Steph coming back.
In favor
of the Warriors. However, there's a chance if Portland, to me, I think Portland without not playing Steph, they'll win that game 3 at home. Because look at how they played at home against the Clippers. Even when the Clippers did have Blake Griffin and CP3
So you think it's too much to take 1 game at the Oracle?
Well, the thing with this young team is, I mean, with CP3 and Blake Griffin before they got injured, Portland couldn't beat the Clippers in LA. Then you remove those 2. Yeah, it was only a 3-point game.
It was a phenomenal game.
But the Blazers finally got it done on the road, and because this team is so young, that's going to be the challenge for them, is can they win at the Oracle, which is already impossible to win at.
Portland did lose their 2 games against Golden State at the Oracle, but they did take 1 game where Damian Lillard went off for 51. Do you think he'll need to go off for 51 for them to win, or do you think it's just a balanced attack, or do they need to really pounce on when with Steph being out?
I think Lillard definitely has the potential to go off because Steph's not there. It's even better because there's no way they can balance cover both Dame and CJ at the same time. I mean, one of them is going to get Sean Livingston, who has played up a ton. Like, this year is his year, like Iguodala's was last year. So they have their chance. They have to press it hard right off the bat, go at him. I think Damian comes out super aggressive, and I think they can take a game at the Oracle. I think that's totally possible because it's not just these 2. It's weird to think, but we were looking at the stats before, and like Miles Plumlee, seriously, he's coming up huge for this team.
He's
leading.
That's the thing I'm circling is Draymond versus Plumlee.
That could be our matchup.
If I'm Steve Kerr, I'm looking at it and going, Draymond, some may call you a dirty player, and one of them sitting next to me.
Yeah, because he is a dirty player.
But you have to use all of your physicality on Mason Plumlee. When he gets the basketball, make sure he can't find anyone to pass it to.
Are you going to put Plumlee, though? Are you going to put Draymond on Plumlee, who's 6'11" and has the obvious height advantage?
Or Bogut, either or. I mean, Draymond's
a better defender. That's the thing.
And just looking at Plumlee's stats, he's leading the Trailblazers in 4 of the 5 stats. He's leading them in rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks. So obviously, he's been important to the Trailblazers here.
I feel like it's just pure shooting versus shooting on the guard point. And look, if there's anyone who can keep up with Klay Thompson and a healthy Steph Curry, it's CJ and Damian Lillard. They both just love to jack up shots. Mm-hmm. And they both can accept their own shots, which is the hardest thing to do in the NBA as a guard, is being able to make your own shot. But the fact that both these teams can toss it into the paint and reliably get assists out of their bigs, I think this is a fantastic matchup. And with Steph not there, I honestly believe there's a chance to rob a game.
Well, and another player I'm looking at is, to me, he didn't have to be as good as he was in Game 4 against the Clippers, but you have Al-Farouq Aminu, who, to me, in Game 4, he had the 6 of 10 from beyond the arc, the 30 points. But then others like, okay, 10 in the last game, 7, 9, okay,
he's a solid
digits.
contributor who can go off.
He needs to be the guy, though, that when Lillard and CJ aren't hitting their shots, he needs to be the guy from beyond the arc to supply that extra push. And also a thing with the Trailblazers is, what is their second unit when the starters aren't on the floor? What are they going to do? Because we saw against the Clippers, okay, they're starting to falter. Fuck it, let's get the starters back out there so we can win this game.
And maybe Alan Crabb needs to step up because, I mean, you do mention that second unit, and he's a part of that second unit, and he hasn't really played that well. He's only averaging 7 points a game, and he did average around 10 in the regular season, so maybe you want to see him stepping up. He did shoot like around 40% from three, so obviously that can be a great contribution there. Gerald Henderson's a vet, so maybe he can step up. Chris Kaman, also a vet there. Maybe you can rely on him. And you know, I agree with you that what can that second unit do? But I'm looking at this first round matchup, and at least the first 3 games. I mean, like you said, Lillard has the potential to go off, and Lillard has shown before that he's a fierce competitor, and I think that he will see an opportunity. I think that he'll attack, and I think I'm going to agree with you guys there that I think they'll take 2 games. I think at least Clay will win one of those battles, like Clay, Andre, and Draymond will take one of those battles. But I look at that, and I see Mason Plumlee, who's been fantastic. I look at McCollum, who's obviously been fantastic and the most improved player in the NBA. And then obviously Damian Lillard, who is clearly the best player and one of the best point guards in the league.
The way I see it throwing down is, and I know that if you're listening on YouTube, you're hearing this the day that Game 1 starts, but I think the Warriors will win Game 1. The Trailblazers will win Game 3 without Steph. It's that Game 2 that's kind of like the coin toss game where who's going to win it. And if the Warriors can win it, cool. We get Steph back up 2-1. But if the Trailblazers can steal that Game 2 in the Oracle, then it kind of puts some pressure on the Warriors with Curry coming back for Game 4.
Do they make that decision, to bring him back early? Do they feel that pressure?
No.
If someone can take a game off you at home, you going to bring him out a game early?
No, I think it stays with the 9th.
So you think he's going to stay around the 9th?
Even if it's a 1-1 series going into Portland, I think Steve Kerr is confident.
Look, he came back not 100% last time because they were worried about the series.
Yeah. But look what happened. I think they'll look at that and be like, no, we can't risk it.
Okay, so if they lose the first game, do you think they risk it and play him?
No.
Okay, so you're thinking May 9th, no matter what, no matter the series, even if they go down
Unless they're down 0-2.
Miracle happens.
If they're down 0-2, he's playing Game 3.
Okay. So if they go down 0-2 and you get Steph, who's not 100%, and he injures himself again, is that Portland just winning this? I mean, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, if I'm the Warriors, and if I'm going 0-2 into Portland, I'm hitting the panic button because this Portland team, they kind of play on the road and then fucking turn it on for their home fans. Like Rip City all day, every day down there.
Yeah, that was nice. I think the biggest thing is like Damian Lillard plays that underdog whole persona really well because he's always been a top point guard, but they don't give him the credit. He's always like, oh, well, you've got Kyrie, you've got Steph, and then there's that notch down, and it's always like Damian Lillard. He's got the same shoe contract. He's getting paid a ton of money. He's a fantastic player, but I think that's the same story for this team. They're always like, oh, yeah, there's the top-tier teams, and then there's Portland. And, I mean, performance, they haven't lived up to it consistently enough. That's why they're a lower seed in this tournament, or this playoff series, but the thing is, they can definitely play up at home. Like you said, they just absolutely, the whole city envelops that stadium. I mean, it goes crazy.
Even look at the State Farm commercial. Who is he? He's the baby.
And I don't care about that. But obviously, they're getting rid off mostly because LaMarcus Aldridge also left, too. I mean, that was looked at as their star. Now D. Lil has to step that up. If they go up, let's say they take 2 games from the first 3 games and Steph comes back May 9th, do you think they have a legitimate shot with Steph even coming back 100%? And let's say Steph doesn't get hurt. Do you think the Trailblazers have the opportunity to pull that series off and win that series even with Steph being back 100%?
Yes, only if it's 2-1 when Steph comes back.
See, and I disagree because of what you mentioned earlier with the questions for the bench. And the starter's going to play longer minutes. If this series goes longer, there's the Trailblazers' chance of winning just drops right off the map. I think they're going to be done.
And it all depends on, as of right now, like my perception as of right now from what I've seen is I'm going off of the fact that I've seen Steph come back once, and he was not 100%. So in my mind, I'm kind of leaning a little towards, he's not going to be the exact same carbon copy Steph. So right now, I'm leaning more towards, yeah, sure, the Trailblazers have a chance. However, there's even that other chance of, if Steph Curry comes in Game 4, turns it on, he's Steph Curry, then of course Blazers have no chance.
I think I'm in agreement with Dave here, mainly because they'll be tired. The Blazers will be tired. They'll be gassed, and you're getting Steph Curry, who's not only 100% healthy, but he's also rested. I mean, that's Steph, who's been playing 82 games this season, or around 82 games this season, been giving it his hardest soul in the regular season. Coming back from an injury, this is going to be a motivated Steph. And you're talking about underdogs here. I mean, I know Steph is the MVP and all this stuff, but he's not looked as one of the greats because of his size and because of his thing, because of his lack of flashiness, driving to the basket or throwing down dunks or something like that. Obviously he's known for the 3-point sharpshooter, and also you look at his Davidson career. He's known as being an underdog, being a Cinderella. So I mean, Lillard has that edge of being, he's not recognized, but I mean, Steph also has been in that position before.
He's trying to prove a point.
Yeah, and he's trying to prove a point, and he's trying to finish off this great season. So I think if the Blazers have a chance if they go up 3-0. That's the only chance I see them.
Which is a fucking miracle.
The way I see it, it's going to be if it's 2-1 for the Trailblazers heading into when Curry comes back Game 4, that's a must-win for the Warriors. If the Warriors lose that first game with Curry back and they fall down 3-1, I don't care how good you are as the Warriors, you can win Game 5, but then you got to come back to Portland in Game 6. And that's, as a Warriors fan, I would not want to see down 3-2 coming back to Portland where the Trailblazers kind of turn it on, because that young team, they're more experienced playing at home than on the road.
Now, I do want to flip this over to the Warriors. Now, we've seen so many comparisons to the 96-97 Bulls here. Would you say, the Warriors without Steph is kind of compared to the 94-95 Bulls, where Jordan went away and, without Steph with Steph being injured? Do you think that's kind of like the Jordan being away, where Pippen has to be the man, is Clay having to be the man? They're obviously still a good team, but not a team that can really win a championship. Do you kind of look at them that way? If Steph is like rushed back and his injury just gets worse and worse, or his injury is worse than we actually think right now?
Well, to fit the exact kind of replica, you know me, Sean. I love playing back on what happened in history and in past NBA seasons. If they're going to be the 93-94 Bulls, they're losing in 7 to the Trailblazers. The reason why I don't think that's going to happen is they lost to the Knicks, and that would be the Bulls lost to the Knicks. This Trailblazer team does not fit the Ewing Knicks. If it was going to be like that, they'd be playing like the Thunder, and Durant would beat them to move on, or the Spurs would beat them to move on. So
you're shortchanging Dame right now.
Well, I mean,
that's the whole point. He's the underdog.
Yeah,
Ricky's not even giving respect. No respect. Rodney Dangerfield.
I mean, I think Portland can jump on the Warriors. I think it's going to be a great series, just because I think the Trailblazers are going to capitalize on the injury. But I don't think it's going to be the exact carbon copy that I'm used to making the comparisons for. But without Steph Curry, I've said it before, I've tweeted it before, you're not winning a finals without Curry.
No, I'm completely with you. I think this team is based around Steph Curry doing Steph Curry things, which only Steph Curry is capable of doing. Klay Thompson's a fantastic shooter in his own right. But next to Steph Curry, he's just good. And that's the huge drop-off. And to consider this team being able to overcome the giant teams like the Spurs with their ridiculous depth,
or even
their
the
age,
Thunder.
their experience, the Thunder with the fact how athletic they are, they can absolutely kill you with Durant and Westbrook.
But remember, Westbrook's not a superstar.
Only shut
KD
your
is.
fucking mouth.
Mark Cuban came out and said it, so it's true, guys. Westbrook's not a superstar.
Yeah, we're all believing that. But at the end of the day, no, and that's the concern. If you don't have a healthy Steph, this team is not a championship team, and would end up as one of the biggest disappointment after an amazing regular season run.
Now, do you think if the Warriors get past Portland here, do you think the Spurs have an up advantage because they know Steph has an injury that's lingering? Do you think that gives the Spurs more of an advantage, or do you think, if Steph comes back and he looks like the same Steph, then it doesn't matter, it's a clean slate?
Either way, Steph or no Steph, Spurs Warriors is going to 7.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying that.
And I don't even know. Like I can't even pick a winner because I think the Spurs can even beat the Warriors in 7 with Steph on the court.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen what Kawhi can do on defense. It's absolutely smothering. It's disgusting. And the low percentage of shooting that they brought to San Antonio was just hilarious. Watching that game was like, it was like kicking a sad puppy. It's like, come on, they're not going to make the shots. They're not going to make the shots. They're not going to make their shots. So if they can keep up that amazing defensive presence, I mean, it's hard to say that Steph Curry, can overcome that. But one way or the other, it's going to be a phenomenal series to watch.
All right, now we keep talking that the Spurs are basically a lock for the Western Conference Finals. I mean, are you guys writing off the Thunder? I mean, he's not a superstar. Do you think Russell Westbrook and KD can do it? I mean, it's just them, basically.
I'm not writing off the Thunder, but the main thing, and I say this as I saw it on Around the Horn. I can't remember who was talking about it, but the big thing with the Thunder, and I think this is going to be the only thing to keep them out of the series, is can they play defensively sound on the defensive side, where Westbrook's a guy who I'm targeting because he's known for doing this. There was a instance they showed earlier this year when the Spurs and Thunder played each other. And okay, it's a close game. Danny Green wasn't hitting his shots.
Yeah.
Well, Westbrook came up, tried to be aggressive for a steal, didn't get it. They kicked it to Green. Green hit a 3. They went up by 5. Then an offensive rebound on the other end. They came down. Boom, they went out by 8. So you were down by 3. Now you're down by 8 points. It's things like that where if the Thunder can just play sound and not make stupid moves, then yeah, they may have a chance to
So the
beat
Spurs'
the
game plan is to frustrate Russell Westbrook.
Yeah, maybe. But I just think that this Spurs team, it may go to 6, but this Spurs team will get past the Thunder, but the Thunder just they can't play stupid out there.
Is it just they don't have enough depth? I mean,
That could be one thing.
I think the Spurs actually, I'm sorry, I think the Thunder actually have decent depth, to be honest with you. If you look at their bench, they have solid contributors. They don't have that star contributor off the bench, but look, they've built a team of solid guys who are able to keep up with anyway. Like, do you remember the end of the regular season when they were playing pure bench mob and they were keeping up and winning game? Like, I think it's absolutely reasonable to say that as far as depth is concerned, if the Spurs are 1, then they're 2 as far as bench depth on the West Coast. But the thing that really interests me is the Kanter matchup, because this guy is the offensive weapon and the defensive liability. And yeah, people are like, oh, his defense isn't that bad. And I'm with you on that. But it's how much can that be taken advantage of by the Spurs bigs? And look, if they're going to abuse you somewhere, it's down there.
That's what I want to say, though, because, I mean, if you have Kanter in, I mean, if he's going up against Tim Duncan, do you think Duncan can really expose him? Because, I mean, Duncan's still fantastic on defense, but do you think he can really provide an offensive spark there? Because, I mean, we've seen Duncan a little slowed down now. I mean, maybe that rest will help him, but if it's Duncan Kanter, do you think he'll be that much of a liability there?
I think Duncan is still viable as an offensive option. I'm not sure how they're going to use it, though, because we've seen him he's played less minutes or limited minutes, but I think you're right. Does he have that step still? No, because he's still the big fundamental. Doesn't matter. He's going to go in the paint. He's going to do his post moves, and he's going to get points. I mean, that's the thing. Like, he was never flashy. He doesn't have that speed. He's got the size, and that's all that matters. He's got the size, and he's got the experience, and he's got the move. Like, at that point, it's a write-up.
And I mean, the one thing with Duncan is so far in this first series, yeah, he's played 20 minutes, which is 8 less than LaMarcus Aldridge and more than Kawhi Leonard than that, but he's only averaging 5.5 points a game.
Yeah.
So he doesn't have to go out there and score double digits. To me, I think it's more
They might just move the matchup and
I just
let
think
LaMarcus
it's more of the plethora.
feast on it.
You've got Kawhi, you've got LaMarcus, you've got Timmy D, you've even got David West that you can just throw at Kanter. And I heard it when I was watching sports TV, and it was the best thing about this series is the Spurs are going to find the Thunder weakness and just fucking attack it until you find a way to stop it. And if that's what they harp on, I don't know if the Thunder can get around that. And it's all going to be about what change Billy Donovan makes for when the Spurs find that weakness.
Yeah, and at the same time, I mean, okay, so if we're going to go all mismatches on Kanter on his defense, how are they going to stop his offense? I mean, can they shut him down? Are they going to... You'd think Kawhi, you'd have him playing up front on Durant. So you've got him taken care of. So then your defender, you're going to put LaMarcus Aldridge on him or Tim Duncan on him. I don't know. It leaves some questions. I think that will be close, but I think you're right. It's going to be abuse the matchup until they find a better answer.
Yeah, I think you
make them stop you.
I think you put LaMarcus on him. That would be my first. Like, okay, let's try that. See if that works.
So the Thunder have a chance at beating the Spurs, but we really don't think it's going to be pulled off. And the Portland Trailblazers might take away 2 games when Steph is out, but we're not entirely sure. We're going to have to see what happens.
Could end up being 2 good series.